today or tonight, I've got a big promise for you. That big promise is that I want to help you discover how simple, faith-centered practices can help you manage your holiday stress and get you to that place where you can find joy, peace, and balance. All right, let me just see what you guys are saying here in the chat. All right, this topic caught my interest because I struggle with holiday stress and with MS. All right, holidays can be challenging. I want to be ready. I am usually alone during the holidays, so I'm looking to find joy. Great, thanks everybody for dropping me a note there. If you haven't already, drop me a note into the chat to let me know who you are, where you're from, and why you decided to join us tonight. All right, in this webinar, we're going to explore how holiday stress can trigger patterns. These patterns that we're going to look at are called saboteurs. And these saboteurs keep us stuck in survival mode. So by the end of tonight, you should have some tools so that you can break free from these patterns that I'm talking about, so that you can reconnect with peace and keep your holiday focus on faith, on Christ, and on finding joy in Christ and the people around you. Or if you're alone, by yourself. These are the saboteurs that often get triggered during the holiday season for us. You see, each one of these has good intentions for you. They're trying to protect you from disappointment or help you stay in control, but often they rob us of joy and peace instead. So what I want to do is I want to look through how each one of these might show up during the holidays, and then we'll discuss how to quiet them with mental fitness practices. So here are the 10 holiday saboteurs. The first one is the pleaser. If you have this character inside of you, it is going to sacrifice your personal joy to make everyone else around you happy. The second one is the avoider. This is that part of us that is going to dodge holiday gatherings or difficult people during the holidays, or maybe there's difficult conversations that need to be had, and the avoider is going to try to avoid all these things. Then there's the controller. The controller is that part of us that's going to insist that other people do things the way we want them to be done, that circumstances be a certain way. It's going to insist on perfection in our holiday plans. And then there's the restless part of us. The restless part of us is constantly seeking for that next thing. And when we're looking for that next thing, what happens is we miss out on what's present. What I was reading a book this morning that talked about the sacrament of the present moment. What if we approached every moment, including this one, as a sacrament, as a holy, sacred space for us? And the restless part of us will not have that because it's constantly seeking what the next thing is instead of being here in the present moment. The victim part of us is probably going to feel overwhelmed and helpless amid all the holiday demands, and maybe perhaps the way that people might treat us during the holidays or something that might be said to us. And then there's the hyperachiever. The hyperachiever is that part of us that is going to push for the holiday celebrations to be perfect, and for us to be perfect in each of these situations that we're going to find ourselves over the holidays, over the next few months. And of course, this is just going to lead to a lot of stress for us. And then there's the hyper rational part of us. This is that part of us that will overanalyze every holiday decision, every thought that we have. And we are going to miss out on the emotional experience of being with other people. We're going to miss the spiritual experience of Thanksgiving and of Christmas. And then there's the judge. The judge is that part of us that is going to critique us. Everything that we do during the holidays, it's going to critique other people. It's going to look at how other people are not getting things right. And We might even critique God that he's not creating a holiday scenario for us that is the way we want it. And all of this here with the judge is going to cloud our joy. It's going to get in the way of us finding joy. Then there's that hypervigilant part of us. The hypervigilant part of us is going to be overfocused on potential holiday disasters, like what's going to go wrong. And so if our minds are stuck on what's going to go wrong, we're not going to be paying attention for what might be going right. And then the last one's the stickler. The stickler in us is going to rigidly stick to traditions, which may cause stress over anything that might be a change, right? Or that stickler might be really measuring how is this holiday compared to the last one, compared to the one 10 years ago, compared to the one 30 years ago. All right. These are just some of the ways that these 10 saboteurs could manifest during the holidays. And you're probably wondering, why do we have these saboteurs in the first place? Well, for that, I'd have to take you all the way back to Genesis and original sin. That's one reason I think we have these saboteurs. But really, our saboteurs, in some sense, are survival mechanisms. We're trying to survive, and these 10 characters try to, quote unquote, help us survive. But we have carried these far beyond those survival years of the first 18 years, surviving our family of origin. We've carried them into adulthood, and we end up then sabotaging our own joy and connection during the holidays because of these saboteurs. If you look at all those 10 saboteurs I just shared with you, they're all fear-based. They're trying to handle fear for us. They might be trying to protect us, but they're using negative thoughts and negative emotions that ultimately are going to hold us back from really enjoying this season. So let's look at how we can manage these reactions that I talked about and find more peace during the holidays. If you want to pinpoint which of your saboteurs are most likely to mess with you during the upcoming holidays, just drop your email into the chat there. I'm the only one that's going to see it. I'll get your email and I'll send you a free assessment that we have called the Saboteur Assessment. And it's going to pinpoint for you the things that you're going to need to be watching out for during this holiday season that may get in the way of your happiness and being able to enjoy celebrating Thanksgiving, celebrating Christ's birth. And if you take that assessment, what I'll do for you is I'll do a Zoom or a phone call with you for about 45 minutes, free of charge, and I'll help you understand the impact of your top saboteur. I'll also help you dream about what life would be like if that particular saboteur wasn't messing with you as much as it is right now. So just drop your email in the chat there. We'll get that saboteur assessment to you so you can do that. All right, so now what do we do about these saboteurs? Well, I'm going to show you some mental fitness tool. And these tools can be used in only 10 seconds. You only need 10 seconds to do these. If you have more time, I suggest you do them for longer than 10 seconds, but they're 10 seconds. And they're called PQ reps. PQ stands for positive intelligence, which I'll talk about later. But these 10-second PQ reps quiet your survival brain. This is like the left side of your brain, just to simplify it. And all it takes is just stopping and taking a deep breath. So try that right now. Take a deep breath. Deeper than normal. It's like hitting the reset button on your body. All right. So you stop and you take a deep breath, and then you focus on just one sensation at a time, like you're breathing or feeling your feet on the ground, something like that. And then you simply ask God to help you to find peace and calm. All right. So let me show you how this works. If you feel comfortable doing so, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes as we transition to doing these PQ reps. They're mental fitness reps, like repetitions that you might do in a gym, but these are for your brain. So take a moment and close your eyes and shift your attention away from all the busy thoughts that you've already had today and bring your attention to your body. I want you to feel the weight of your body in your seat. If you're sitting, or feel the weight of your body on your feet if you're standing. Notice the weight of your feet resting on the floor. And take a couple of deep breaths and notice the rising and the falling of your chest and your stomach with each of those breaths. Now, allow yourself to relax back to the natural rhythm of your breath, which is normal for you. Now, I'm going to ask you to breathe through your nose this time. Notice the temperature of air as it enters into your nostrils and the temperature of air as it exits your nostrils. Do that a few times. You may become aware of the sensations in your nostrils and how they may change with the intake of the breath and then the outtake. As any thoughts arise, gently let them go and just keep refocusing back on these physical sensations in your body. Now, bring your attention to your fingertips. Slowly rub two of your fingertips together with such mindfulness that you can feel the ridges on both of those fingertips. Notice any texture changes as your fingers move. Now, shift slightly and rub all the fingertips of one hand against the fingertips and the palm of the other hand. Tune in to the variety of sensations this touch creates. All right, next, I want you to shift your attention to the sounds around you. Notice those that are the farthest away from you. Now gradually bring your attention to the sounds that are the closest to you, perhaps the sound of your own breath. Now finally, return your focus to the rising and falling of your chest and your stomach as you breathe. Great. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. And I'm going to ask you if you can put in the chat for me, what do you notice after doing a few minutes of those exercises? What do you notice happening in your body? What do you notice happening in your brain? How do you feel overall? Just give me a word or a phrase and drop that into the chat there. All right, someone says, I feel calmer. What else? I feel centered. Thank you. I feel relaxed. I feel calm. I feel peaceful, more relaxed. Great. All right, I feel peace. Wonderful. So how would we use these PQ reps for holiday stress now that you know how to do them? And by the way, if you would like a script that you can follow with those PQ on it, you can drop me your email into the chat. If you already dropped it in there, don't worry about it. But if you haven't dropped your email in yet, drop it in there and I'll send you a script of those. And also, what I'm also going to do is send you an audio version, a 5-minute version and a 15-minute version where you can just play the audio and the audio will guide you through. So I'll send it both to you in print, and I'll send you an audio version as well. All right. All right. Now, examples of how we would use this um, for holiday stress. All right. Before you enter a gathering, if you have difficult relatives, I think probably we all have at least one or more relatives that are difficult. Before you enter that gathering, what if in your car or on your way riding over there, you just did some of those things I just told you and began to feel some of those feelings that you were feeling? Okay. How might that change the way you enter that room, right? If you're in the middle of some kind of holiday task and you're feeling overwhelmed, how wonderful would it be to just stop when you're feeling overwhelmed and do some of those exercises I showed you? And when you start to feel pressured to make everything perfect, or you feel someone's pressuring you during the holiday season, what if you hit that reset button by doing some of these PQ exercises? All right. And so I want you, let me ask you, what are some other examples when you can think that during the holidays, doing some of these PQ reps might be helpful for you? Drop me a note into the chat there. Yeah, someone is saying there that they have done a PQ program before, a positive intelligence program, and they forgot how well it works, how these PQ reps work. So thank you for sharing that. And someone said that you'd like a copy of that PQ script. If you said that, I'm going to need you to drop your email in there because all I can see is your name. So just type your email in there if you want that script. All right. What are some examples of what you might face this holiday season where these PQ reps might come in handy? Someone just asked, what does PQ mean? PQ stands for positive intelligence. There's a book that's been written about positive intelligence, and there's a program called Positive Intelligence. I'll talk about that at the end. If you stay on the till the end of the Zoom, I'll explain more about it. So yeah, someone's saying, I want to quiet my mind before I'm even around others. Good. When a family member brings up an unpleasant topic, I can do these PQ reps. Yes. All right. If you think of some other examples where these PQ reps might come in handy, just jot it into the chat for me there. Now, what I'm going to encourage you to do is to charge up early and often. All right. So charge up early and often. That means early would be like first thing in the morning, before you check your email, before you check your text, before you do anything, do some of these exercises. I do these before I read my Bible and before I pray. They help put me in a space in the morning before I do those things where I'm much more attentive and zoned into what I'm going to do. So I encourage you to do it early and then do it often throughout the day. I'm going to show you how with 15 minutes a day of these simple exercises you can do anywhere, anytime, you will actually create new neural pathways in your brain, which is really important because the neural pathways of your saboteurs are so well worn and so strong. If you don't build some other neural pathways, you're going to just go the path of your saboteurs and you're going to sabotage the holiday season for yourself. So charge up early and charge up often, and start your day with a set of PQ reps to just prepare your mind and your heart for the day. And like I said, if you want a script of these, just drop your email into the chat there. All right, one person said here, while cooking dinner and trying to get everything ready. I don't know what it's like in your house, but in my house, we get pretty stressed out when we're trying to get everything ready and get it on the table. So that's a wonderful idea to prepare for that. All right. I also want to share a simple way for you to handle negative thoughts, because we're all going to have negative thoughts this holiday season. And we might also have some negative feelings. So if you have a negative thought or a negative feeling during the holidays, the simple way is to use PQ reps to address those negative thoughts. When you feel a negative thought or emotion, pause, do some of those PQ reps I showed you, and then ask God to help you release that negative thought or that negative emotion that you're feeling. And then focus on the peace that God promises, letting go of that survival mode, fear-based thinking, and leaning into God's love for you in that moment. What are some negative thoughts or negative feelings that you have had previous holidays? Drop me something in the chat there, so this will help us customize this for you. What are some negative thoughts and feelings you have felt previous holidays, or things you think you might feel in the next week or the next month? What negative thoughts and negative feelings might come up? When I was a kid, I remember feeling confusion because my parents were divorced, and then so my dad would have to come get me, and I'd have to spend some time with him and my grandparents. And so like my families weren't intact, weren't together. So for me as a kid, I remember feeling confusion. What are some negative thoughts and negative feelings that you all have felt during the holidays? Just drop those into the chat for me. Anybody felt anger during the holidays? All right, someone says that I'm alone and I have no one to celebrate with, even though I want to. All right, so there's loneliness. Okay. I was going to say something similar to that, but I ended up saying confusion instead. It was I think, a confused loneliness. I have a feeling of being left out of other people's celebrations. Spending time with family reminds me of how dysfunctional my family is. Okay. All right. So this practice of slowing down to do PQ reps can help us break free from that survival mindset and stay open to joy. Someone has said here, previous thoughts, I'm not good enough. The gifts that I brought weren't good enough. My conversations, and then disappointments resurface, maybe disappointments from the past, or maybe disappointments in this current holiday season. Okay. So all of these thoughts and feelings, if you feel these things or think these thoughts, what I'm going to encourage you to do this holiday season is to just pause, do some of those PQ reps, release those negative feelings in your body, or there's no negative feelings inside of you, release them to God and let go of the fear related to them, and ask God to give you his peace instead. When you do this, it actually creates new neural pathways in your brain. It actually creates new neural pathways in your brain. The way we know is we put people through a 7-week program, and we teach them these exercises, how to do them. We teach them about their saboteurs. We teach them about the sage part of the brain, which is what we call the thriving part of the brain. And we can actually see on an MRI new gray matter being built up in that thriving part of the brain. We can actually see how that survival part of the brain is starting to get more and more quiet. You can actually see it on the MRI, which is pretty amazing. Now, there is one other thing that you can do during the holidays, and that is that you can take power breaks with simple prayers. So taking a power break with a simple prayer, think about all those thoughts and feelings that you just shared with me. What you could do is, if you're ever feeling one of those things, you can take a power break and you can use a simple breath, what's called breath prayer. That's on the inhale, you say something like peace, and on the exhale, you say be still. Now, it doesn't matter what the words are. You can think of some simple prayers of your own to do, but right now, just try this. When you breathe in, just say or think the word peace. Peace. And as you breathe out, just say be still. Be still. Peace. Be still. Peace. Be still. And you can carry on there with your breath for several minutes. I've done it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it's amazing how a simple prayer like that will allow you to really focus your time. You see, God doesn't need a lot of words when we pray. Prayer is really just us being with God in its simplest form. So even if you're just using a few words like that, At the beginning, it might just feel like words. At the beginning, it might just feel like breathing, but just keep paying attention to your breathing and just keep saying the simple prayer, whatever prayer you choose. All right. And do that as a power break. Then you can go back to the stuff that you were doing before, and hopefully you'll be more in your body and more of all of those feelings that you felt earlier, that peace and feeling focused and feeling clear-headed that you all shared with me earlier when we did those PQ reps. All right. So try these breaks whenever you feel tension, frustration, or stress building up in your body. These simple prayers combined with breathing can be a powerful way to reconnect with God's presence during the holidays. These moments of connection can really help us pause and invite God into our day. The Bible says whether we eat or whether we drink or whether we celebrate holidays with friends and family, whatever we do, we're supposed to glorify God and invite him into each of those moments. Okay, so to recap, what we've said tonight so far is thriving through thriving through the holidays with the saboteurs. What do? We're going to recognize the saboteurs and how they're trying to quote unquote help us. We're going to use these 10-second PQ reps to reset ourselves, to reset our body, to reset our emotions, to reset ourselves spiritually. Then we're going to try to start each day with some of these mental fitness practices, and then take power breaks with breath prayers during the day so that we can get closer to God and so that we can reset our bodies as well. So to wrap up, remember that the saboteurs are just survival mechanisms, but they really pull us away from true joy. So we're going to try to recognize them, do PQ reps, charge up early, and then incorporate these prayer breaks so we can reclaim peace and find more joy during the holiday season. All right. So I wanted to let you know I'm going to do another one of these before Christmas. So if you're not on our list, our email list where you get reminders of this, if you're not, drop your email into the chat there. If you've already put it in, don't worry about it. But if you haven't yet and you want to know about the next one we're going to do a part 2. We're going to talk about embracing holiday challenges with faith and resilience in the next 2 or 3 weeks before Christmas. So we're going to go deeper into holiday relationships and also finding joy through more faith-centered practices. All right. So if you want to know about that and you're not getting the reminders for these meetings, just drop that into the chat for me with your email. All right. So you probably have some questions or you might have some comments. So if you do, you can raise your hand or you can drop your question or your comment into the chat. What are some questions or comments you have? I'd love to take any questions that you might have. Feel free to type them in the chat or you can raise your hand and I'll make sure you get unmuted. What are some situations that you may want to use these PQ reps for, or some of these strategies for? You can drop that into the chat. No questions? No comments? All right. Would you recommend stepping into another room to do these PQ reps, or can they be done while in the presence of others? What a great question. Thank you so much. So these PQ reps are so simple that you can do them anywhere, anytime. So for instance, when I'm in a Zoom meeting like this, I'll often choose someone to look at, and I'll look at their hair, I'll look at their eyes, I'll look at their facial features, and I'll do visual PQ reps because these will help me tune in to the people that are in the Zoom meeting with me. I thought when I first tried this that it would be very distracting, but what I found is that when I zone into a person that I'm meeting with or amongst a group of people that I'm meeting with, it really helps me be attuned to what's happening around me when I zone into something visually. Same thing with hearing. If you're talking to somebody, you can really pay attention to the timbre of their voice, the pace of their voice, all the nuances of their voice. That would be like an auditory PQ rep, right? So you've got some visual ones you can do. You've got some audio ones, auditory ones that you can do. You can also pay attention to your own body, paying attention to your breathing. So yes, you can do these in the middle of a bunch of chaos, all right? However, sometimes we get flooded, sometimes we get really upset during the holidays. And if you find yourself at that place, you can certainly try to do this. The challenge is that most of us aren't used to doing these, and so we're not quite adept at doing them. And so if we may find it hard to do in the moment. So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, at that case, you may want to remove yourself to where you have a quiet place where you can do this. But I would definitely try them when you're with other people and get good at doing it when you're with other people, so that when you need it, it'll come in handy when you're in a difficult situation with people. Great. All right. Someone else had a question here. Explain more about being in your body with PQ reps in general. Great question. The reason I said being in your body is because all the saboteurs that I mentioned earlier, which maybe I'll go up there and just put them up on the screen for you again. This is in tiny print, but hopefully you can see a little bit of this. These are the 10 saboteurs. They're not just holiday saboteurs. I just call them holiday saboteurs because we're talking about the holidays, but they're saboteurs all year long, unfortunately. They all are in that left side of your brain. These 10 characters live in the left side of your brain. That part of your brain is built for survival. If you're going 90 miles on the highway and someone stops in front of you, your survival brain is going to have an instinct. Your survival brain is going to tell you in nanoseconds what to do about that car that stopped in front of you. I don't know if your survival brain is going to give you the right answer or not, but it's going to give you an answer, and you're going to do something. You might fight, you might flight, you might freeze, you might fawn. Those are some of the classics, right? So when we look at these saboteurs, they all create overthinking. They all create a lot of thinking in our head, trying to figure things out, trying to think things through. They all create fear. So what I've learned about myself and about other people is I cannot be in my head and in my body at the same time. When I'm in my head about something, I'm not really in my body. I don't know if you've ever had a conversation with somebody and then you said something to them and they said, that's what we've been talking about that for 5 minutes, right? This happens with my family sometimes. They're all talking and then I say, oh, what about this? And they say, we've been talking about that for 5 minutes. What happened? I wasn't in my body. I was in my head about something. I was stuck in my head thinking about something. So I missed out on everything that was happening in front of me. I wasn't in my body. So it's really important for us to embody our bodies during the holidays. And so that's why it's important to do these kinds of practices that I showed you, because that allows you to embody your body. And a lot of the people I talk to are Christians. So if you're a Christian, you know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit of God. So it's really important for you to embody your body and not be stuck in your head. All right. Let me know if I answered the question that you were asking. Whoever asked that question there. What other questions or comments do you have? Feel free to raise your hand or drop that into the chat. All right, I'm going to move on, but if you do come up with a question, please drop it in there for me. You might be asking yourself, do these things really work? Well, let me show you what happened to me after 6 weeks of practicing these mental fitness tips. I took an assessment before I started practicing these, and this assessment told me that outside of neutral times, my brain was serving me only 55% of the time with feelings like joy and gratitude and calm. But 45% of the time, my brain was sabotaging me with things like stress and anxiety and frustration and anger. Well, as you can imagine, I didn't like that result. And so what I did was I did the PQ program. At the time that I took it, it was a 6-week program, and it showed me the 3 parts of my brain. It showed me how to use these 3 parts of my brain. It showed me how to build muscle in these 3 parts of my brain. It was very simple for me to do. It only took me 2 or 3 minutes at a time, the little exercises they gave me. When I got done, here is the assessment score after 6 weeks. It now said my brain is serving me 71% of the time and only sabotaging me 30% of the time. So these things really work. And all the things that you all said that you felt when we did those PQ exercises, clearer mind, feeling more in your body, not being stuck in your head, I felt I was able to make decisions with more confidence after doing this. I felt closer to God. I felt more peaceful. And you know what? This was priceless for me. I was working on a project. It was a 1-year project. I had been working on it for 2 years, and there was no end in sight. I had no idea how I was going to finish the project. I spent over $10,000 on this project, and all I had was a couple of website pages that looked really nice, but weren't helping anybody. During the 6 weeks of practice, God showed me exactly what to do next. And I completed that project that I had no idea how I was going to complete. And I've done it 9 times since then, in about a year and a few months. I had a friend who did this program with me the first time I did it, and Marlena got a 100% boost in her mental fitness. She said, I find myself happy most of the time now. She went from a failing grade of 40% of the time in her thriving brain to 80% of the time in her thriving brain. So she did even better than I did, right? She went from a failing grade to a B minus, let's say. Um, after I did a workshop, much like the one I'm doing tonight, a woman came up to me. She could not even form a sentence. She couldn't get the words out. She couldn't tell me why she came up to talk to me afterwards. Her husband was standing there, and between the two of them, they told me they had tried everything. She didn't know if I could help her. And she did this 7-week program with me that I'm talking about. And this is what she had to say after doing the program with me. She went to her yearly physical and passed the mental health screening for the first time in at least the last 6 years. Some of her answers used to be not at all, when they used to be almost all the time. Questions like, how often do you find yourself unable to control your negative thoughts? Previously, she had to say, I cannot stop my negative thoughts. And after doing this 7-week program with me, she could say, I know how to stop these negative thoughts. And it made a huge difference in her life. She passed that mental health screen that her doctor was giving her. Now, another person that came through the program with me said, so much to praise and celebrate. I'm rejoicing in the pain that draws me close to Jesus. The continued healing of my PTSD, standing up for myself with family members that bully me, the times of waiting that bore so much fruit, praising because it is a powerful way to glorify God. Seeing me as God created me is priceless. All right. So I want to give you a next step so that you can experience the transformation like these 3 have, and like I have myself. We call this unlocking mental fitness. Basically, I took that 6-week program that I went through that got me such a good result. I added an extra week. And so now we have a 7-week program. We use the program that I went through, but we also add some biblical framework to it, so you understand why we're doing the exercises that we're doing. So this is called Unlocking Mental Fitness. It's a 7-week journey, and we provide you with the tools so that you can move closer to your goals, whatever your goals are. This program is designed to help you with some of the most common challenges that we face, like overthinking, emotional blocks, and struggling to maintain a positive mindset, which is really what handling the holidays is all about. We combine the biblical frameworks with neuroscience to help you rewire your brain for peace and clarity and purpose. So I know a lot of my friends that come to this meeting are grieving. If you're grieving, this is perfect for you. Some of my friends are working through trauma stuff. If you're dealing with trauma stuff, this is perfect for you. If you have some goal in mind that you want to accomplish by the end of the year or in 2025, if you have some goal in mind, this is perfect for you. If you want to grow spiritually, this is perfect for you. So after the closing prayer, I'm going to talk about how the program works. If you want to learn more about it, you can stick around after this closing prayer. I'm going to close us out with this prayer, which is called the Serenity Prayer. You may have heard of before. This is what's called the full version of the Serenity Prayer, and I love this prayer. It says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time and enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking, as Jesus did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Wonderful. If you already know about Unlocking Mental Fitness, if you already, maybe you've already participated in it, and you're headed out of the meeting now, God bless you. If you'd like to stick around to hear more about Unlocking Mental Fitness, just hold tight and we'll do that in just a moment. All right, so I'm going to talk about the Unlocking Mental Fitness program. Well, one of the big features of the mental fitness program is that we give you 1 year app access. So we have a special app that we give you that you can place on your phone. You can also access it on your computer either way. This app is valued at $995. If you try to go to the company that created it and get it from them, it costs $995 for a year. So that's the value that you're going to get. We're going to give that to you as part of this program. It's going to guide you with daily exercises. It's going to give you reflections. It's going to give you activities that are going to help build your mental fitness. And it's only going to take about 15 minutes a day. It's not going to take a lot of time. We have it broken up into 2 or 3 minute segments, so it doesn't take a lot of your time. Think of this as a daily companion for your mental fitness. It's always going to be available to help you stay on track. And then what we do is we provide daily coaching in the app. So that's me. In the app, you're going to have a special channel in that app. In that channel, I'm going to be in there just about every single day of the week, except sometimes on Sundays, I don't go in there because that's my Sabbath day where I don't typically work. So every other day of the week, I'm in there checking to see what you're saying in that channel. So you have the ability to get daily coaching from me on whatever it is that you're working on as it relates to the program. So this is personalized tips, support, and encouragement every single day, and help keep you accountable so that you can you can overcome the obstacles that you're facing. And I want to make sure that you're not alone in that journey. So other people in the group this is a group experience. So other people in the group will also be in that channel, and they're going to be there to hold you accountable and to give you support and encourage you along the way. Next is the weekly coaching session. So we meet on Zoom for 1 hour every week of the 7 weeks. And this is where we go deeper into the concepts. We share insights and we're holding each other accountable, talking about what our goals are for the 7 weeks. And you'll have the opportunity to connect with others who are on the same journey as you. You get personalized feedback in a supportive environment with me and the others. And then there is the saboteur assessment that we give you, and there's what's called a PQ assessment. The saboteur assessment is going to show you we take out the judge. We don't assess the judge, but the other 9, because all of us have the judge, so we don't even score that. But the other saboteurs, we can show you exactly which of those saboteurs are messing with you. So we'll give you that assessment. And we also have the PQ assessment, which is the assessment I showed you about how much I was in my survival brain versus my thriving brain, right? And I was just a little bit more in my thriving brain than I was in my survival brain. And we were able to grow my survival brain and quiet my survival brain during that 6 weeks. So We're going to give you both of those assessments so that you'll have the insights into the mental blocks and also help you keep track throughout the program of how you're doing, because you can take these assessments over and over to see if anything's changing. And this is just an eye-opening way to see exactly where you are and where you'll be at the end of the program. We'll also give you a PDF version of the best-selling book, Positive Intelligence. We'll also give you the audiobook resource for that if you want to listen to it. And these materials, they really help reinforce the concepts that we cover during the program, and you can listen to them and you can revisit them anytime that you want. Then we have the small group that I usually have between 5 and 12 people in my group. So that is the small group format. And then we also have the larger PQ community. So there are people all over the world who are doing the PQ program at the same time that we are. And you have a channel in there where you can interact with people from all over the world who are doing this. Sometimes it's great to go in there and see what other people are saying about the topics for the week. So this is an exclusive community that you get to be a part of. And I consider that priceless because I've met so many wonderful people in there who have helped me understand these principles in a way I wouldn't have without them. So it's important that we have others to walk this journey with us, to share our wins and to get support when things get tough. This community will help you stay motivated and connected as you work towards your goal. Now, I got the result I got because I was in a group with Marlena, and Marlena was setting a pace and I was trying to keep up with Marlena, right? And so that's how this works. If you did this on your own, you'd probably get a result. But when you do this with other people, what we found is we get a 500% increase in what we get out of a program like this when we do it with other people as opposed to doing it by ourselves. So that's why we do it in a group format. So if you total all that up, it's probably about almost $5,000 that I put into this program for you. This is like the cost of a brake job and a transmission job. Actually, I have to change the numbers here because I just got a transmission job, and in and of itself, without the brakes, costs more than $5,000. But you get the idea. We're going to give you a brake job for your brain to help stop the negative thoughts and feelings that you're having, show you how to do that. We're also going to give you a transmission job because we're going to show you how your thriving brain works. And oddly enough, it has 5 gears or 5 powers in that thriving part of your brain. We're going to show you how to use the transmission of your thriving brain, how to get from first gear to second gear to fourth gear to fifth gear. So that's what we invest into the program. Your investment's going to be a lot smaller than that. So let me just go over the logistics of this. This is a 7-week group program. The next one's going to start in January. So this is a great time. If you're going to do this with me, we'll give you all the stuff you need now so you can get ready. And over the holidays, you can take your time. And by January, you can have read some of the book and have listened to some of the book, and even gotten started with some of the exercises that we can give you in the app. So this group is on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. and we meet for 1 hour. And if you miss one of the Monday meetings, we'll record it for you and we'll send it to you. That way you don't miss anything. So this is the way to reach out to me. This is my info here. I'm going to place it into the chat for everybody. So if you don't